Good afternoon and welcome to the Joy Show with Rev B here. And I am so excited you're here. The Joy Show is, it's all about living that authentic life. Remember, there's just one you. Might as well fall in love with that one because kind of stuck with it. Anyway, I'm delighted that you're here, and I want to begin with the land acknowledgement. And as we gather from many places on Turtle Island, we as settlers are grateful for the opportunity to meet here, and we are grateful for all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. We acknowledge the Indigenous stewards of this land. We recognize and deeply appreciate their historic connection to this place. We also recognize the contributions of Métis, Inuit, and other Indigenous peoples that they have made here in both shaping and strengthening our communities and our countries as a whole. Miigwech. Well, today my beautiful guest is Gino Walker, my beloved sister, and Gino, her mission in life is just to, through joy, is to lift and shift the light of consciousness all over the world through inspired song and word. And currently, she's the music director at the Universal Spirit Center in San Diego. Gino, my love.
What's up, my sister? Rev B.
Oh my goodness. I am so happy to see you. It is just such a joy to have you here, as always. Anytime I get to spend some time with you, I wish you lived in Canada, frankly.
I know, right? I
Come
mean, we
on.
used to hang out. I'm
Well,
working
I would
on.
come
I'm
down
working on
there.
getting back into Canada.
Yeah, well, hopefully you can get back in here sometime soon because
Yes,
I would really love to have you here sooner rather than later.
yes,
So
yes,
we're
yes.
working on that. Anyway, so you have a really exciting position in that you are creating the music, but not just the music for the Universal Spirit Center. You actually are, you're shaping minds through some of the conversations. And I just love what we were talking about a few minutes ago about the importance of creating music that honors the community.
I really love that. I love that. We're in this time frame right now where change is happening at the speed of light.
Yeah.
And the speed is, to me, happening when we, and I don't want to use the phrase woke, but when you wake up, that maybe you can say something in a different manner that will be more inclusive, that not to include someone is, to me, kind of like in the same reference as not acknowledging or recognizing that they are a part of this universe and we are all co-creating. So it's very exciting. It's also sometimes, you step on some toes, uh, and
Welcome
you
to
have to be able to
Celebrate.
say, right, I'm sorry. So
Yeah.
teach me, let me learn, let me dive deeper
Mhm.
into how I can be more inclusive. And so in our community, I'm really very proud that not only with music, I do sometimes take liberties with certain music that I do. And I've had people say, with the songwriter like that. And I say, you know what? When they wrote this, the consciousness was over here, but we have moved to here. And I think they
Exactly.
would. It honors what's happening. And you shared family coming into songs that talk about brothers and sisters. I love that
Mhm.
because in our binary community and transgender community that may not reference he or she. So I love that. Family is inclusive of all.
Yeah. Well, that's why for me, because there's a lot of beautiful New Thought music that really does reference, brothers and sisters coming
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
and it's a beautiful sentiment. Unfortunately, it leaves people out, and so for me, in my center, I'm striving to do my very best with my limited knowledge. Luckily, I have a 17-year-old who can teach me things.
Oh my
Um,
God, is she 17?
17, she's in grade 12. Yeah.
Wow.
I
and
know.
beautiful and stunning, voice like an angel. I kept looking at her saying, I just remember that little Genevieve, that little one. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I
Oh my
digress.
goodness. Well, it's true. It's true. Like, when we watch our children grow up, it's interesting to be on stage with her now, me doing the message and her doing the music, because when she was little, there's video of me doing the Sunday message with her wrapped around my leg while I walk across the stage and do what I do because I don't like to stand still. And she's right there. And, it's just hilarious. Some people didn't like it, but my thought is, this is my last child and I ain't kicking her off the stage. So, and here she is now, a very prominent part of our center. And so I'm grateful because I think what's interesting is when we include young people in
Yes.
whatever way we do, we open up the doors of possibility. Far too many new thought centers, because I speak at a number of unity centers, and
Okay.
a lot of them, pretty much everybody in the room is gray haired and white.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm looking at that going, I don't get it, and especially living in a city like Toronto, which is very diverse.
Yes.
Um, it's just it strikes me as, where are the young people, and where's that connection to bring them in? And one of Genevieve's friends loves what I do so much that she actually she Genevieve was away all summer, and
Yeah.
see me went and messaged her and said, us kids want to go to your house for a sleepover. I said to Genevieve, you're not here. Yeah, I know they want to hang with you. They want to talk about God. I'm like, all righty. But this show is about celebrating the unique, authentic self. And you are such a remarkable person, because you are funny, you are gifted, you do you do amazing impersonations. I love your Tina Turner. Um, I love Tina Turner.
Who
Um,
does?
and you also have this deep heart and this deep connection to create harmony and beauty and grace in community. And that to me speaks volumes, but it really speaks about your nature. And I just want to say hello, Fiona from Geneva.
Yeah,
Yay.
that's my mom's name, Geneva. I thought, wow, how
Yeah.
beautiful.
And my daughter's Genevieve. It's
Yes.
Genevieve, Geneva, and the country Geneva.
I
There's,
know. Whoop, whoop.
it's
All up in the house.
like we've
Hi,
got
Fiona.
energy happening here. I love it. I love it. So tell me, what got you involved in impersonating people like Aretha Franklin and Tina Turner? They're kind of superstars.
They ain't kind of them some divas. Um,
Absolutely.
you know, um, some years ago, I give this gentleman, Pete Peterkin, the credit. He came to me. We were both going to Agape at that time. And I
Right.
was, on that hustle grind, doing my thing as an artist.
Yeah.
And he came to me and said, hey, you could do Aretha Franklin. And I was like, I don't need to do Aretha Franklin. Aretha Franklin already doing Aretha Franklin, and she's doing it well.
She's doing it exceptionally well, or she was.
She's doing it very well. And so he kept bugging me about it. So one day I was like, all right, I went to his house. So he was teaching me some, and I love Aretha Franklin. So that was already that. I love Aretha Franklin
Yeah.
and grew up with her. And so he's teaching me, and I just go, you know what? I don't want to do this. This doesn't make sense. And he showed me a check. Of his last gig. He said,
Mhm.
how long are you working at your gigs? I'm like, well, we got about 3 hours here, 2 hours over there. He said, this was for 15 minutes. I'm like, I'm ready to learn now.
I just need a little inspiration.
But what evolved for me, what I came to understand, because I've been blessed to do Aretha, Ella, Tina Turner,
Yes.
um, Those are the three main staples that I've done. Um, the energy of each of them flew or flows through me in a different way.
Yeah.
And not knowing, a lot of times when people hear me sing, they think I've come out of a Baptist background, and I have not. I come out of a Catholic background. But what you hear is my spirit and my soul. And so people are always surprised, like, you you didn't come from a Baptist church? Nope. Nope. I went to Catholic school, grade school, high school, and 1 year Christian college.
You know what's funny is I've had people come up to me and go, "You sure you're not a Baptist minister?" You remind me of somebody from my childhood. Well, that that's what's really fun when you allow sort of that authentic energy that's truly yours to just be released. And I remember years ago when you came to Canada and we were doing a fundraiser on a boat cruise on our lake here, and you did Tina Turner,
Yes.
and I joined you
Yes, you did, Mama.
with the big wig, and it was so fun. It's interesting because there's people. I mean, that was a lot of years ago, and there's
Yes.
people still talking about it today, which makes me giggle. But it was great fun, and I think life is about being. It's about being authentically who we are, like really celebrating our own authentic self, and
Yeah.
then at the same time having fun doing it.
Yes. You know, I've been blessed to travel all over the world. I haven't gone everywhere, but I've been blessed to travel quite a few places.
Yeah,
And as a performer traveling, the experience is always very different. How people greet you, how they're there to support you, and how you see different countries and how people are exposed to you. I remember I was in Hungary, and this was one of the really beautiful tours. It was a USO tour
yeah,
that I was a part of, and we had the families of soldiers that were from all over the world. And this little boy broke through the barricade, and he really thought I was Tina Turner. And so there was this moment of I'm looking at his family, I'm listening to him saying how he's got a picture of me, and how, and you could tell that this young man possibly was struggling with his own identity of
yeah,
who and how he wanted to show up in this world.
yeah.
And so it was in a brief moment that I was thinking, like, do I break or do I stay? And I stayed in character
Good,
and talked to him for about 10 minutes, and his family, they supported it. And it
good.
was so beautiful. And I was awestruck that spirit would move in such a way that
Yeah,
me and this young man would have this time together that fed us both. It was really beautiful. And I mean, I've had some wonderful moments like that, not only as impersonating characters, but as myself as well, when standing in that space to be present with someone. I remember I was in some parts of Phoenix, and there was a young man that was in the audience, and I was speaking and singing at a Unity church there.
mhm,
And afterwards, his mom came up to me and gave him a label of some dis-ease.
mhm.
And he walked right in between us and started having a conversation with me. And I looked at his mom and I said, we don't have to label anyone. This is your son. He has a light within him. And the fact that it doesn't look like everyone else should be celebrated, because he's here to teach us. And if we can get off of our couch of you've got to look like this, you've got to sound like this, you've got to be like this, you
Oh,
might be able to hear his voice.
I
And
love that.
oh, we had this moment and all of us got tearful. And she said, oh my God. It was like, it was recognizing that, and we all do it easily. We fall into this trap
Yeah, we
that
do.
this is what we have to look like or sound like or be like. And that's not why we came here. We
No.
so didn't come here to duplicate each other. We came here to expand each other.
Well, this is the challenge with our educational system. And I think whether you're in Canada or the US, it's like kids are these free loving spirits, and then they enter the school system and they're made to sit in little spaces and be quiet and receive this information from these adults. And nobody's listening to anything they have to say. Well, not nobody. There's some very good people out there, but a lot of it is about creating, I think of it as creating mediocrity.
Yes.
We're
Said.
dulling their light. We're putting them in a box they don't fit in.
Yes.
And we have expectations of them that are absolutely ridiculous. And when I look at that, I think we're doing such a disservice to humanity. But I suppose if you're in the 1%, this works for you because it keeps the masses in a place of fear, doubt, worry, second guessing themselves, and really surviving in a mediocre way the majority of the population. So it sort of allows for the cream of the crop to stay up top.
You tipped over in there. I'm going in. I mean,
I'm being
you absolutely.
controversial here.
Well, I mean, you're hitting what we're expanding out of, and
Mhm.
it hasn't worked. And
No.
so you see in Iran the women standing up that you're the morality police. What are you talking about? Well, women are incarcerated because their hair is being shown. And so these women, these young women and older women are stepping up and they're protesting now
Good.
that enough is enough. And so we're seeing this all over our globe because this 1% can no longer. It
Well,
just cannot be.
yeah, it doesn't work because it doesn't support the masses at all.
It
And I
doesn't
think
serve.
it doesn't serve anyone. And for me, when I look at some of the remarkable kids, like, I mean, I love teenagers. They're very interesting. They're courageous and they're rebellious, and they're really exciting to be around
Yes.
because they have great ideas, and they're sort of pushing boundaries, which is what they should be doing. And I'm always fascinated by the ones who are striving to step out of that box they've been placed in, but between parents and school and whatever, they're being pushed back down. That's not what you need to do. This is what you've got to do. And even when it comes to choosing a university or something, when you get into high school and you've got to
Yes.
start making those decisions. Well, I don't know about you, but when I was 16, 17, I really didn't have a clue what I was going to do for the rest of my life.
Well, I
Yeah.
did. I,
Yeah, and my daughter does too.
I've been I was a performer since I was a little one. I did
Yeah.
productions in my neighborhood, and if people didn't do their part, I did their part. My part, I did everybody's part. However, I didn't have the faith I had. Well, let me change that and say I
Yeah.
had blind faith because
Yes.
I told in my school, I said, listen, I'll probably struggle for 10 years and then I'll be a huge success. Well,
Yeah.
that 10 years of struggle, that prophecy fulfilled itself. But I was always very clear that my gift of stage, my love of music, of theater,
Yeah.
um, I always knew that that was me. That was my calling. What I
Yes.
didn't understand early on was that the trust of what I was looking for wasn't outside of me. It was within me. And
Yeah.
that has been part of my journey to learn that it doesn't matter what I do,
Yeah.
that I am supported. I have a big papa. I have a big mama. I have a family. I have a universal intelligence that
Yeah.
supports me beyond anything, no matter what I do. And for those of you that go, well, what if you do something wrong? We're not talking about that, or something
The
that
thing
hurts
is,
another person. You
yeah,
know,
and we don't do things wrong,
yeah, we don't. I agree. Thank you.
you know?
Everything is about our expansion of consciousness, of evolution, even
Exactly.
all of the tragedies that we see in our world. I believe that they're pushing us to understand that we don't have to live from this space. We don't. You
Exactly
know,
right. Yeah.
to see people in Russia that are making a decision that no, we will not continue. We never did support it. And now you want us to give up our families and children. They're like, let's get the heck out of Dodge.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's all of that being said, that this
Yeah.
evolution of living joyfully, this evolution, I mean, that's like a huge thing that people are starting to get. I could live in joy. I could actually live my life in joy, and all of my needs would be met.
Well, that's the that you know that's the really important point, is that when we come to understand that we are creating our life experience, we actually have within us this incredible power that we're using it, whether we're conscious of it or not, we are using it.
Yes.
And the way it flows and moves through us is through consciousness. And if my consciousness is one of anger, frustration, annoyance, and whatever, then that is what manifests in my world. If I
Quickly,
doubt who I am,
quickly.
if I think I'm less than, I'm not good enough, or I'm too much. I'm
Yes.
simply too much. You ever hear that? Too
Yeah.
much? I think we have that in common.
Oh, yeah.
Yay! Too much is the right amount. But it's coming to that place of going, you know what? I am who I am, and not everybody's going to like me, and I'm okay with that. And that falling in love with the self is really what we need to do in order to fulfill the life destiny or the life vision that has been given to us at our birth. There are no mistakes or accidents.
You're right.
We were created perfect, whole, and complete, and then we got put in a box that didn't fit, and we forgot that we were perfect, whole, and complete,
Yes.
and we thought we were broken and flawed. And so we found a CSL church. We found new thought to help get us fixed. But
And
we're not wrong.
one of the most powerful things that I think that we are starting to talk about in CSL churches, and for me that has been very powerful in my journey, is recognizing that we're energy, that we are frequency. And
Exactly.
so this illusion that we're here to just be, when I talk about joy, I talk about an inner joy, not
Yeah.
this surface happy today. Oh, okay, this didn't come in, now I'm not happy, or my husband or my lover left me, now I'm depressed, or oh, I've gained some weight. And so not this type of fluctuating, but each one of these
Yeah.
beautiful opportunities provide for us the expansion in consciousness that is needed. I love Abraham Hicks.
Yeah, I do too.
And, Abraham talks about, if you don't know what you do want, and I'm paraphrasing, going through what you don't want really opens you up to be, you ever ask someone the question, well, what do you like? And they go, well, I don't like this. And I don't like
Always.
that. It's like, but no, that's not what I asked. What do you like? And so on this journey of us finding ourselves, that when I can understand that, okay, this is not what I want, this is what I want. Let
Yeah.
me focus on that.
Yeah.
This is not for the faint of heart, and it's not for the
It's
wimpy. You have to have a focus and a love, like you said, the love of self. I think it's impossible, if you truly love yourself, that you could want to hurt another.
absolutely. Absolutely. Because the truth is, hurt people hurt
Yes.
people. And yeah, so what I really love about everything that we do is that we're creating a world where it's okay to be different. In fact, it's celebrated. I
Yes.
think the labels we put on people, like you mentioned earlier, that's a way of squashing the light in that individual, because regardless of what you look like, how you sound, the way you speak, the level of your competency or intelligence, or how much you like to sit still in a classroom, none of that defines who you actually are. And until we have a conversation with each other and listen, we're never going to know. But we're labeling people and telling them they're bad and they're wrong, and you know you're ADD and you're this and that.
Oh,
Enough already. We're going to go to a commercial break. You're watching The Joy Show, and my special guest, Gino Walker, and we're going to be back in just a minute or two.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Change, you can do it. Change, it's a sure thing. Change, expect a miracle change. Watch me change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change.
New Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience, or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.
Well, you're watching The Joy Show, and my guest, Gino Walker, is with me today, and we are having a great conversation about the power of living authentically. Hello,
yes.
sister. So, this journey, now I just want to talk a little bit about the way you're working with your music team, your choir and stuff, and the messages that you're giving them, because I was really touched by something we talked about earlier, before we actually went on the air.
Yeah.
Just helping them to understand the context of music, because you mentioned something about people coming into community and how this evolves. Can you just share that with our audience, please?
Universal Spirit Center. We're celebrating our 21st anniversary this coming Sunday, and so the choir on fire is singing, and
I love that.
one of the songs that we're doing is called "Celebrate," and it's actually a Ricky Byers tune.
Yeah.
My sister, I love you. And someone mentioned that they were confused by the lyrics because it had a I, then a U, and then a we, and it's like, can we just make it all a I and cut out all that other stuff? And I said to them, I said, understand that what this song is talking about is that a person came looking, seeking for answers, light, a new way. So I was seeking something. I said, then they came into this community and they found you. They found teachings, they found classes, they found a way to expand who they are. And then they became a we, they became a part of our community. I said, and if you take that out, you take out the whole heart of the song.
Yeah.
That's what this is about. And so they looked at me really strangely, like, that was kind of deep. Wait a minute.
Well, you have that way about you. As much as you're fun and you're express, but you have a very clear understanding of developing community.
Yeah.
And we cannot develop community if we leave somebody out.
No, we cannot. And
So,
and we have for a long time in
oh,
our,
whatever.
I'm going to say, in our ignorance, in
Mhm.
our unawareness. And one of the things that hits me upside the head is that, Gino, you have felt left out.
Yeah.
But in my little bubble, not thinking about others that have been left out. I remember when this started to just really flower. I was living in Palm Springs. Yes, I've lived somewhat everywhere, people. And I was living in Palm Springs, and I had roommates. They were married, and beautiful home that we shared.
It was beautiful, yes.
And really, I don't want to say, really my first opportunity to dive into the LGBTQ community and understand what was behind the curtain. And so I was doing shows there in Palm Springs, and one of my roommate's friends came up to me and said, you can't invite lesbians and gay men to the same show. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, we don't get along. I was like, are you out of your mind? I said, number one, for me, this is financial. If they can buy a ticket, they can come. I said, and number two, don't you get enough of separation from the outside world? Why then would we do that? And as I was saying, and I said, oh my goodness, this is just like in the Black community. Yeah. Where if you're darker skin, then you may not be as beautiful as someone with a lighter complexion. Or if your hair is if it's a more kinkier texture, that a straight hair, that's good hair. These things that we do within our own communities to keep us separated. I was like, my goodness, can't we just come together within our community?
Yeah.
But when you start separating, that you can't. That's where it has to be rooted out completely. There can't be separation in any way, any form, because as long as there's separation, there is someone, something that is left out. And that's not what the world is about.
Yeah, and they're not only left out, they're actually kind of harmed.
Oh.
Because you're left out not because, we don't like you or whatever. You're left out because of your skin color or your sexuality or your gender identity or your HIV status or, right? Like, we have a habit of doing them and us thing, and we haven't really grasped the concept of oneness.
Yes.
And I've noticed it even within our teaching. When you think of New Thought, there are a number of New Thought organizations, and we all have these little umbrellas. Mine's the right one. We're all teaching the same thing, and we're teaching oneness and practicing separation, and it bothers me. And what I love about this network and what Reverend Robert is doing is building that New Thought bridge. bringing new thought together in a way that for me is just so beautiful. Even Spirit Cafe that I do on Wednesday, I do it with a unity leader.
Nice.
And, so working together, and I'm ordained in both unity and CSL. I'm like, where else can I get an ordination? I love going to school, so it works out okay. But it's one of those things that I keep moving to try and
I
get.
see the sun is the sun is about to take you over.
I know. Well, we talked about it before. Maybe I should be in the dining room instead of my office. I love my office; it's beautiful. But there's something about that need to separate, that need to mine is the best, or just to sort of I don't know why we do this. And truthfully, when we come together, there's such a beautiful energy that comes from that, and such a sweetness that really is remarkable and so uplifting and powerful. And why we want to have a them and us mindset, because the reality is there's only one thing going on and we're all some
Right.
part of it,
Yeah.
right? Let's come together. I'm gonna become a singer. Well, I might leave that to you, but it's like, can we just choose to drop our walls and love one another? Right?
Well, that is the call that's really being put to the test right now. That
It is.
can love, can joy, can kindness be a reality, and can the global expression of us survive? And I
Yeah.
know that we can. One of the things that that we're all experiencing, no matter where you kind of shake out,
Mhm.
the fear of this change. And I remember, I almost will call Bashir. Bashir is another wonderful teacher that teaches through the spirits,
Mhm.
and talked about in the year 2015, 2016, that this pendulum on our planet would really start to shift. And I was like, okay, let's get it happening. Let's
Bring it on, bring it on.
but all of the work of the beautiful lights like yourself and others that have been meditating and praying and just planting these beautiful seeds that would start to come up.
Yeah.
Well, just like anything would change, the chaotic experience of that.
Yeah.
What we are experiencing right now is the chaos of this magnificent change that's taking place.
Yeah.
And so those of us that can embrace the change, even with, as I say with myself, I'll speak clearly about me, with my limited understanding of this change that's taking place,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
I'm like, you have to keep digging in order to be present to what's unfolding through me.
Exactly.
Just through me.
Exactly.
You have a whole new way of that expression. There are others. And so we are in this space where this community that has said, yes, let's bring everyone together. There's no competition. I have a song called Difference, and in it, it talks about, there are many different, and I make it very simple. There are many different apples. There's so many different apples. I can't name all of them, but is one less than another just because it's a different apple? No.
I like that. I like that. I just wrote a children's book about being unique and special,
Oh,
because
wonderful.
everybody is unique and special.
I love that. I didn't know that. Congratulations.
Well, it's not published yet, but
Hey. I'm not having none of that.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
written.
So yeah, it's written. The illustrations are now done, and so now I'm putting together the book proposal. So
That's fantastic.
yeah, and it's what's fun about it is it's sort of it's part of this as well, because it's the Joy series, Just One You.
Oh,
So
nice.
all of the books that I'm writing are about the unique nature of each one of us and how to be with that, even in the face of judgment or criticism, and then how to, turn it around where it's like, this is a gift. Being unique is a gift.
Yes.
And conforming, all that does is lead to mediocrity. And I don't think that's what we need more of in our world, personally. We need people like you who
And
just
you.
stand up and go, oh, check me out. We're going to have some fun here. We're going to sing. We're going to play. We're going to talk truth. Like, that's a beautiful thing. And I think our world needs that to come instead of trying to make everybody the same, because we're not, and we shouldn't be. Like, I wouldn't eat, I love, I love rice.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the rest of my life. I'm going to have some vegetables, and I'm going to sometimes have some sweet potato, and sometimes I'm going to, right? Like,
Right. I mean, but even with rice, it's not just one type of rice.
oh, I know.
It's a cornucopia of different races.
There is. There is. See, that's the thing. Diversity, diversity, diversity.
Yes.
Everywhere we look is diversity.
Yes.
Why are we trying to settle into this idea of sameness?
Yeah. I love that I'm getting ready to start an Indiegogo fund for my new CD. I haven't done any I haven't done any new music in a while. And so that's inspiring. The ideal initially was music with a book to accompany it. I don't know about that aspect yet. So I'm impressed.
Maybe we should talk.
And what's so funny is that joy is one of my things, and it was going to be all about joy. So I love that you have put that out there, the uniqueness of us. Those are seeds that we must plant more of, so that our children come out of the belly recognizing that they're unique and that there's no one that's not unique.
And for parents to understand that each one of your children, whether you have one or you have a dozen, they are individuals. They are not going to be the same. They're not going to have, it doesn't matter that they have the same parents.
Exactly.
They are going to be who they are. And, too often we have a baby and we go, oh, I'm going to make them into this, or I want them to do that, or I want them to do this. And of course they never do that. Right? Always, and if they do, they're so conformed that they never, they're, having anxiety and stuff, trying to deal with having to please the people around them. But it's teaching our children that who you are is enough. And you don't have to be something to make me happy. And if I'm uncomfortable with you, I'm uncomfortable. It's got nothing to do with you. And I've got some work to do. And it's one of the things I've noticed with my youngest daughter. She's 17 and she's beautiful and she can dress kind of. And I'll catch myself wanting to say something, because when I was growing up, I was abused by men of every age because of, looking a certain way or whatever. And so there's a part of me that wants to go, put on a big bulky sweater. let's hide that body of yours. And, she said to me one time, she goes, are you body shaming me? And I went, no, you're gorgeous. Are you sexualizing me? No. Well, yeah, I guess that's kind of what it was, right? And so at her school, and I know any parent who's listening, schools will do this. They will dress code girls for the way they're dressed. Yeah. And there was one young girl in her school who's about, I think at the time she was maybe 14, but quite chesty. Doesn't matter what she wears.
It's going to be there.
It's going to be there. And so she got dress coded, and Genevieve was so outraged that she sat back and she got all the girls together. The school is actually from grade 7 to 12. Okay. It's a small French school here in Toronto. And so she got all the girls and said, I want you to dress in the way that makes you feel the best about yourself. And we're all coming to school on Monday dressed however we want. And dress code All of us. And that was on a Thursday. On the Friday, we get a note from the school going, make sure there's no racial slurs or anything on those clothes. Well, those kids are not doing that.
Right.
The teachers might do that, but the kids aren't.
Right.
And, these kids showed up dressed however they wanted, and the school just had to shut it down. And Genevieve took it to the principal going, you're sexualizing children. Your teachers are uncomfortable with the way our bodies look. That's your teacher's problem.
Mm.
And I'm thinking, whoa, fierce.
Yes.
I can't argue it, right? Like she's speaking the truth.
And she's speaking from her perspective. And she deserves to have a voice.
Exactly.
She deserves to be heard. She deserves to be able to express what she is feeling. We think that we want to put a number. People always ask, Gino, how old are you? I go, I'm like God, I'm ageless. And it's always like, well,
I'm a senior citizen. I'm proud.
Age doesn't mean anything to me. I was like, if it didn't mean anything to you, you would not be trying to define me by a number.
By a number, exactly.
I said, so it's not the fact of me telling you the number. It's the fact that if I don't tell you the number, now you've got to try to scramble in your brain where to put me. And so we do this with our youth that, okay, they're too young to have a decision to make this type of argument or to speak this type of truth. And it's like, no. They're a frequency, a vibrational energy that is, when they are uninhibited, that stream is so beautiful and powerful that,
it really is.
They can teach us much more because our light a lot of times has gotten dull.
We've been suppressed.
Yeah.
And many of us have allowed the societal standards that we've lived in to define us. What was it that Jesus said? The little children will lead the way, or the little children will teach us.
Yes.
And I think we skip over that. We're teaching Bible scripture. I don't do it very often, but when we're teaching Bible, it's like, God's word. Well, it was written by a bunch of men, so I'm not really quite sure it's God's word, but it was the human experience.
Yeah.
And it was the human experience of the time, and it's still happening. We're still having many of those experiences. And so if we look at them metaphorically, we can begin to see, some real meaning in some of those scriptures, which is really powerful. But the little children will lead the way. That's saying, come on, folks, take a look backwards. Take a look at that authentic you that came into this world. Be that to me is that message. Be that authentic self.
Be that authentic self. To your point, I wanted to share this. Families that have created a business. Maybe it was the father's or the mother's dream, and so they've created this foundation that has and supported the family and moved everybody into another position within the world. And then you have either that senior steps down or they make their transition.
Yeah.
And one of the kids, they want them to take it over. They want them to do it. And you see that within a matter of, I think it's 3 to 5 years max, the business is no more. Yeah. Or they have totally turned it upside down where it needs to close. And at first I thought, well, that's just ungrateful. Somebody's done X, Y, Z. But then I realized it's not just the business. You're taking on someone else's dream.
Exactly.
And so now you want this person that is your child, your parent, or your sibling. You want them now to take your dream on and to have the same wherewithal when it was never your dream at all.
Exactly. That's a really important point.
It blows me away. And it's like, because I knew a couple of people that their mother had created this beautiful restaurant and the girls just abused it. And I was like, well, I blamed them. But then when I stepped back and realized spiritually that you're trying to take on something that you've never claimed in your spirit, you've never owned, you love all of the goods that come from it, but you never found your voice.
Yeah, it wasn't your dream. It
It
wasn't your
wasn't
voice.
your dream at all.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't be mad at somebody, but like, you've been living and fighting for your dream. And so imagine if, your dad came in and said, okay, Gina, you got to take over the real estate world. What? I tried that. Didn't work so well for me.
I know I did real estate for a while too.
Yeah.
Just not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
That's very funny. But it's true. We decide there's a movie that is my all-time favorite. It's called The Three Idiots.
Oh,
And it's a Bollywood film. I love
okay.
Bollywood movies. But this one is exceptional, absolutely exceptional. And the storyline, because in India, families have maybe gone without for a lot of years and they've saved every penny to send their child to engineering school,
Yep.
which is the topic of this one. And of course, some of them are not engineers. They're artists, or they're this or they're that. And it's like the parent has decided they've given up everything
Yes.
to make sure there's enough money so this child can go and get this education so they can do better than they did. So the
Right.
parent's heart is in the right place. I want my
Yes.
kid to do well. But then when the child comes back and goes, but I hate it.
Yeah.
I'm a photographer. I'm like, all of a sudden anyway, it is a powerful film. If you get a chance to watch it, I know I think it was on Netflix for a while.
Oh, I'll check it out.
It is fantastic. I've watched it so many times and I keep
Wow.
watching it because it is such a full story, but it shows what happens when we try to force people into a life that isn't theirs. And we were created by a creator that probably has more knowledge of what's happening in the world than what we do from our finite human experience. And maybe we should trust that.
Maybe, something to think about. I don't know. Maybe.
I'm just tossing that out there. Maybe that would be.
That just reminded me, we had a story that hit here, an Indian family they're
Yeah.
suing their son for not having a grandchild. I mean,
You mean I could sue my son for not having kids?
for not having a grandchild.
All
I
right,
thought,
let me
wow. And they talk about, they've given them this X amount of time. They talk about the money that they've saved for X, Y, and Z. And I was like, oh my goodness. So our level of wanting to control everything, now we're going to our children and say, hey, if you're not married by here this time, oh, that's what they wanted. They wanted him to pay back the money for the wedding, which was like over $200 and something thousand because they had not given a grandchild. I was like, this is definitely the chaos that must come
Next
up.
level. Next level. You know what I love about society right now? What I'm really loving is everything's being questioned.
Yes.
Everything's being questioned.
Yes.
There is no longer any sacred cows. It's like
None.
everything is being questioned.
None.
You don't get to lay down the law anymore and go, here's how it's going to be. It's everybody's going, what about my rights? What about
Yeah.
my dreams? What about my journey? What about me?
What about
Right?
me?
Like,
What
and
about
I
me?
think, the Me Too movement and Black Lives Matter and just all of these organizations in Canada, Every Child
The
Matters.
bands of our body,
Yeah, it's like there's this huge upheaval where the masses, which is really where the power exists, right?
It is.
People are exploding, going, no, 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 I'm not listening to you anymore. So the shift is happening.
Absolutely.
It is happening. And even, when it comes to gender identity and stuff, like, it frustrates me. Why do I have to tell anybody whether I'm a girl or a boy?
Yeah. And the way that they want to go about it is just disgusting. But once again, it's that old mindset. And I have to remind myself,
Yeah.
my opportunity is to
Yeah.
create the new. And so
Yes.
this old mindset that wants to restrict, confine, and condemn, I'm going to wrap it in some love, wrap it in some love. And I'm going to
Yeah.
sit you to the side so that we can
Yeah.
create the new avenue, the work that you're
Yeah.
doing.
And
Uh,
the thing is, we don't know what we don't know,
we don't.
but when we do know, we can't pretend anymore. And I had an interesting situation uh, about a week and a half ago. I'd done a big memorial service for a cemetery, and it was just an annual event, positive messaging and music, and
Hmm.
just helping people deal with their loss. And it was beautiful. It was really beautiful, and so many people came up to me afterwards going, wow, like that really has made a difference for me. And I was talking to these three beautiful Black women, and one of them was talking about how her mother had died through COVID and she
Mhm.
wasn't there with her, and just the pain of that. And we're having this conversation, and this white man comes up, interrupts us, and says, I have a joke for you. And I'm like, kind of taken off guard. The women go, it's been lovely talking to you, talk to you later. And they left. And he told me this really terrible joke I don't recall.
Yeah.
And then I thought, like, as soon as he started talking, telling me the joke, I went, oh my God, he has so much privilege that he could step in and erase everything we were doing without any thought of how disrespectful that was. And I tried to find, like, I finished talking to him very quickly, got him out of the way, and I'm trying to find these women, and I couldn't find them. And I thought, in future, you've just learned something really valuable. That ain't never going to happen again. That I felt so bad afterwards because I thought, how could I let that happen? And I let it happen because I've been trained and
Yeah.
conditioned
Yeah.
that the white man has power.
There's so many underlying things that we don't even know that are happening, and those beautiful women may not have even recognized it
They
because
may not have.
it happens so frequently. It's happened
Yeah,
throughout our entire life, but these are the beautiful moments.
they
So
are. I'm so grateful for it.
yes,
So grateful.
that you did become aware, like, oh wow, wait a minute, I just
Yeah.
got something new here, a new download just happened. That is
Yeah.
powerful.
Oh, it is. And it allows me to see my own evolution and my own deepening of understanding and my own willingness to notice when I've erred, when I've made a mistake, and to not beat myself up about it,
Right.
but to sit back and go, I'm doing it different next time.
Yeah.
I'm not letting this be the way life continues. If we continue to allow the white male to dominate everything, then we're going to be stuck with what we've currently got.
Yes.
And at some point in time, we have to stand up and go, I'm sorry, give me a minute.
Yeah.
I'm doing something else right now. Gino, my love, I adore you, my friend, and I'm really hoping you can be here in November. I am going to anchor down the date here very shortly,
Okay.
and I will send you that information once I talk to the board and we figure out what we're doing and where. We've been a little overwhelmed with the opening.
Oh,
So go figure.
yeah.
Anyway, I love you. Thank you for being here today. This conversation has been so stimulating and beautiful, and you are remarkable. Final word?
You are absolutely a love. I love and miss you so much, and it's been so great connecting. And I'm so proud of you, everything that you've always done and that you do. And so I would just leave everyone with this: that I love your acronym for joy. That there's only one you, but that one you has the power of the entire universe. So you can be a change.
Be the
I love
change,
you.
everybody. Love you. There's just one you. See you next week. Bye for now.